You are listening to the Mohua show, where it's all about celebrating the Junoon among changemakers and their journey.
The way they look at India, kind of a gaze that we look at third world countries with. It's a weird gaze. Let's just say that. I love the films that Zoya Akhtar or Vikramaditya Motwane makes. If you want to make a film like that now, then the doors are closed. Then there's no system which is going to support you to make that film. Making an independent film means 3 years going all out passionate about something, and that will not pay you. Just because I was able to keep the ego aside, I got the chance to work with Shah Rukh Khan. How unbelievable is that, right?
Totally unbelievable.
When you get the casting right, a direction is so easy. You just have to tell them, and they just get it. After we lose some more money as an industry, after we revamp it completely, I think some
Yeah.
changes will happen.
What does it take to quit a stable corporate job and make your first film with no studio, no big names, just a story you believe in? Sounds unbelievable. And what kind of filmmaker turns a murder mystery into a meditation on motherhood and loneliness? So, in today's episode, meet Ananyabrata Chakravorty, screenwriter, director, and an author. From writing lyrics for Ricky Martin to directing his debut feature, Kaisi Ye Paheli, Ananyabrata's journey is extraordinary. In this conversation, we speak to him about the power of writing, the politics of funding, and what it means to make an honest film in an ecosystem that often doesn't reward honesty. And we all know that, being in the field of arts. So, welcome, Ananyabrata. I'm extremely excited to have you on today's episode. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture, the industry identity in India. You know, you've had a full fledged corporate life in Bangalore, and I'm completely very, very envious of you. Before you took the leap into cinema, what pushed you to finally move to Mumbai and make films? I have been dying to do that, but I do not have the courage. So you have to tell me, what was that?
Right, right. Mohua, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It really means a lot. I've followed your podcast for a long time, and it's a privilege to be here on your podcast. So about quitting a corporate job and trying to take the leap and make a film. So it's taken me a good 9.5 years so far. So it's not easy. So what pushed me to sort of take the leap initially, I think I was in a stable job at Akamai Technologies, which is in Bangalore. I was working there for about 10 years. I did my MBA there as well from Alliance, and then was working there at Reliance and then at Akamai. And when I was working at Akamai, I'd written a book. So it's a psychological thriller called Split Second that I'd written, and that was again self-published slash partly self-published. There's a company called Lead Start, which sort of helps you fund a bit of the the publishing. They take care of half, and you take care of the other half. And they also sort of put me in touch with Landmark and other bookstores where I could, display the books and everything. So that gave me some courage ki maybe I can write, because before that I was writing poems and lyrics for independent bands and short stories and everything. So I was gaining a little bit of popularity within my college folk and everything, but I was not really taking a professional step. So with the novel, I think it made me feel ki maybe I can write professionally as well. So the first intention to move to Bombay, which was around the end of 2015, when I quit my job. So that was just to adapt the book into a film. So I didn't want to become a screenwriter. My only aspiration was that I come to Bombay, find a screenwriter, and hopefully a writer director, and they make the film, make the book into a film. That was the only goal that I had back in 2016, beginning of 2016 when I came here. But then what I learned is that it doesn't work that way unless you're really famous. Like your book, people are after your books. They're chasing you for the rights and everything. If you're a person who sold like 5,000, 6,000 copies, nobody really bothers about trying to make your book into a film. So then the natural next step was to figure out how to write screenplays, because that was not something I'd done so far. So the natural next step was that okay, I have figured out a way to write one novel. So if I know the story, then probably this is my way of writing a novel. So that also took me about 13 months to write. So 4 months was research, and then 9 months into writing and rewriting. So I thought, okay, if I give myself a year, then maybe I can learn screenwriting. So that's where the need to learn came from, and luckily, there are plenty of resources out there on the internet, and also there are books that you can buy, you know, Blake Snyder's books or Sid Field's and everyone's. And there are so many free lessons that one can take on these channels like BAFTA Guru and TIFF Originals and stuff. Where there are a lot of masterclasses out there. There's also a company called masterclass.com where you can go and learn screenwriting from the masters. Like Anand Sorkin has a masterclass there. So there is an ocean of knowledge out there. We just got to go pick it and listen to all these people and figure out what screenwriting is all about. And thankfully, I was able to do it like self teach it, but not really self teach it. Learn it from the internet, learn it from the gurus, basically. So yeah, that was the
Amazing. You're talking exactly what I have in my heart. Ananyabrata. Is there a shorter way of saying the name? Ananyabrata?
Ananyabrata.
Ananyabrata. That
It's
I'm trying to do.
short.
What does it mean?
So it means the resolution to be unique. So unique as in Anonno is unique, Ananya
Yes.
in Hindi is unique,
Yeah.
and Broto is Brat, right? Like we have the Karwa Chauth Brat. So
Yeah. It's a
so
promise.
that's a promise, a resolution. So the resolution to be unique is Anonno
Mm.
Broto. It's a
So
name I
you really stood by your name, Ananyabrata, and my name Mohua is also a local liquor. So I haven't been able to do justice to my name yet, you know. So let's get back, Ananyabrata, to the high stake corporate deck, to screenplays. What did the world of tech and client servicing teach you? Um that unexpectedly may have crept into your approach to filmmaking? Was it there at all, or did you just divorce the two, one from the other?
question. That's a great question. I think education, for instance, I mean, I'll probably club it with education, the corporate career that I had. I think it does go a long way. There are things that you learn which you are not always sort of looking to learn, but you learn on the go. Like when you're doing engineering, you're not just learning about the machines, you're also figuring out how to get things done, right? When you're doing an MBA, you're not just learning about, what are the four P's of marketing. You're also learning, how do corporates work, right? And so those things really kind of help you figure out a lot of other things. For instance, even the client servicing job that I did at Akamai, that was a customer facing job. So end of the day, if there is a certain amount of confidence with which I'm able to talk to somebody I don't know, that probably does come from the client servicing experience from Akamai, right? So engineering, I would probably go back to school, the wonderful teachers that I had at school, then engineering, then MBA, and then the corporate career. I think it did and still does play a huge role. For instance, MBA helps me figure out what are we as a product, for instance, right? So it's very easy to get very romantic about writing and filmmaking, and a lot of us get very romantic about it as well, right? But end of the day, we realize that the people who are running the filmmaking business, they think from a very corporate standpoint. So it's very important to understand what they're thinking. Are they looking at us the right way? And if not, then what are the other ways in which we can work around and figure out a different way of approaching it? For instance, how one leaves their job to become an entrepreneur, for instance. That entrepreneurship may be in the same field as well, but still it's going to be very different from the job. Say if I quit Akamai and started a company which was around content delivery network, then I would carry a lot of things from the job to the
Absolutely.
entrepreneurship, but there'll be a whole lot of new things that I'll
Mm.
have to do. So it's about figuring out a way, and
I
those,
hear.
I think it's all schooling and college and all of that.
Mm.
It
Totally agree.
never a waste, never a waste.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally agree with you. You know why? Because I had left journalism.
Okay.
and I had gone into PR, in public relations. And at that time, everybody was very angry with me, people who knew me very well. And they said that, you're a writer, why are you giving up and getting down to, public relations, which is not your personality?
Right, right, right.
But I think what public relations and corporate communications taught me was how to create a brand. What is it that is required in marketing? And I really owe that, today, to this whole reboot for myself that I've done. So you're so right, Ananyabrata, when you say that nothing is a waste ever. So you've also said that in India, filmmakers rarely allowed to tell the stories they truly want.
Yes.
You've said that, right? Directors are often treated more like collaborators than creators.
Yes.
So, in a space where studio backed films, have one set of expectations and international festival films have another, right? Do
Right.
you think that there's really any real room left, for honest middle ground storytelling? I mean, of course, today the world has changed, and I'm really loving this time that we are in with cinema. I mean, there are shorts, and I love to watch one film a day, and yeah, so it's great, so what is your take on it, especially now that you say that there is this whole mismatch between expectations?
Yeah, there's a huge mismatch right now. Um, so like there are practically, if you go by systems that we have in place, there are two systems in place for a filmmaker to go and make a film. One of them is the corporate structure, where one pitches to a studio and the studio picks up the film, and say they want you to sort of make the film. So if you go with your own stories and pitch that particular story to a studio, the chances are that will not get picked unless it is exactly in sync with the kind of stories that they want to tell. So even if it's your story, it is the story of yours that you don't want to tell. You're manufacturing a story yourself and then suiting the needs of the studio. Or the other way around, the studio might just ask you to might just hire you to make a film. So either way, you're not getting to tell the story that you want to tell, because it's they have to meet a certain criteria in terms of numbers, and they look at numbers a certain way. It's based on past data. It's not based on instinct and foreseeing the future or really understanding the roots of what the end consumer wants. So because they're going by the past data, they think that it's only the star-driven film that can work and nothing else can. So that door is like that. Uh, I'm not commenting on whether it's a good route or a bad route, but if you go there, you have to make a commercial film the way they expect you to make it. You don't get to tell your story. The other system, which was supposed to initially help all these filmmakers who are struggling with the corporate structure, was the festival structure. But unfortunately, I think the festival structure has also become a huge brand,
It
right?
is.
It is a huge brand. So now they, although they don't really commission films like the studios do, they have a set of criteria that you really have to meet if you are to make it to the list of the films at the festival. So even though you're not getting paid, you're essentially working for those festivals. You're making your film to suit the rules or the needs of that festival, and they have different requirements from different countries. And the way they look at India is not the kind of gaze that you would appreciate. It's a kind of a gaze that we look at third world countries with sometimes, which we should not. There is It's not an empathetic gaze. It's a weird gaze. Let's just say that. So if I am playing into that gaze, that's not something that I would like to do. That's not my story. So now, if I have a story which is, say, entertaining and engaging, and also doesn't really fit into the studio sort of a what they understand as entertainment, then it's going to be a challenge. So, for instance, I love the films that Zoya Akhtar makes, or Vikramaditya Motwane makes, right?
Yeah.
Or Diwakar Banerjee's earlier films and Shreyas
Yeah.
Shraga's films. So, if you want to make a film like that now, then the doors are closed. Then there's no system which is going to support you to make that film. So, if you don't have a system, then what do? You do the Ekla Chalo Re, right? You figure out a way to sort of, okay, there's no system, fair enough. I can sit at home and complain about it, but let me not do that. Let me just see if there's any other way to go ahead and do it. And where we get stuck eventually in sort of, we can write our screenplay, we can do all the narrations and really get a, put a tight script together. All of that is possible if you give it the time and you have the resources and you can narrate to them. The friends are very kind and they listen to your narration, they give you feedback. Then you can write a, like a tight script. But then, and also the artist community here in Bombay is very, very, very supportive. They want to act in your films, they want to collaborate as DOPs and crew members and everyone. So putting a team together is also not a huge challenge. The challenge is the money. All right. So that is where an independent spirit, faces a hurdle. So now what do you do for the money? Those channels are not there. So what where we got very, very lucky was the crowdfunding bit that we did, right? So we thought, okay, there's no other way. I don't have generational wealth at all. I barely sort of get through months, and and I don't come from money. So what do we do, right? Um, so we reached out, me and my wife, we reached out to our friends from school and college and corporate careers to see if they are interested in funding the film. And we didn't do it by making calls or disturbing them or anything. And there was no entitlement there. We didn't. It was not like, how can you not fund me? And I'm going for such a great war. Nothing of that. So no expectation there, but just putting it out there that this is what you've done, this is what we want to do, and if you come in and join and fund our film, it'll become a possibility, right? And we were very, very lucky that we've known over the years so many generous people who decided to just fund us, no questions asked. And that was surprising, it was beautiful. And that was the major luck factor in our journey, I think, because that crowdfunding thing happened, because our friends and acquaintances and Nishu's family was so supportive. We were able to go ahead and make the film.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So, Ananyabrata, let's talk about your debut film, Kaisi Ye Paheli, right? Really, beneath the murder and the mystery, what is it all about, and why did you choose this genre of dark comedy and murder mystery to tell this emotional story about a mother and her son? Dark
Right,
comedy in India is still very, very new.
right.
Uh, I just recently saw Sister
Just
Midnight,
right. Okay.
and that really was, it broke a lot of barriers.
Right,
So
right.
tell me a little bit about your film and why did you choose this?
This genre, right? So it is at the core a film about a mother and a son. It's an old mother who's a widow who misses her husband really badly, and there's a son who's grown up to be a little arrogant and doesn't really respect the mother, right? So it's a little about loneliness. It's a little about reconnecting with your son who you've given everything to, and then that son suddenly is like an alien, is not addressing you at all, is doesn't want to talk to you, doesn't want to live with you at all. So um so this story, if I really wanted to tell a story about a mother, an old mother at that, like a 60-year-old and a 30-year-old son, and a story about loneliness, naturally I'm leaning towards a boring narrative. uh, it can be it can become a very draggy story there, which is not palatable to audiences. But that's not what I want to do. Of course, it's a personal story, it's a personal learning and all of that. But I don't want to be entitled to, thinking that just because it's personal, people should, watch my story or listen to my story. So what do I have to do now? I have to make it interesting. Now, when you try to make a story interesting, when you take a problem and you add a metaphor to it, it's a technique taught by Paul Schrader, the great writer of Taxi Driver. uh, when you add a metaphor to it, you essentially reach a genre. You almost every time reach a genre that could be like a basic genre like drama as well, but sometimes you can reach something more niche like a murder mystery, right? So once we reached a murder mystery, when we thought, okay, this is an interesting way of talking about loneliness through this murder mystery, because now the story becomes okay. The son is a cop; he has to solve the murder. The mother is intelligent, very intelligent. She used to help a much bigger officer, which was the father, the son's father, her husband, and she is a sharp mind, and she's like, okay, there's a murder that my son doesn't seem very capable of solving. What if I become a detective? What if I sort of try to put clues together? Then maybe he'll respect me, then maybe he'll talk to me. So this, therefore, the murder mystery. So now already it's already feeling light, so it cannot be a murder mystery where somebody was stabbed 17 times. Then it becomes very bloody, and the mother story gets lost there, right? So you have to keep it light. So now, uh, going with that lightness, we thought, and there is a murder, which is a serious thing, and it kind of lends itself very smoothly into dark comedy there, because okay, all the lightness, all the comedy that is happening there is also around a murder, and that is what makes it slightly dark, comedy-ish, but it's not out and out funny. It's not an out and out funny film. It's more in the zone of a panchayat or a lapata ladies, that kind of humor.
Okay.
You'll not
Okay.
roll on the floor laughing sort of a humor, but it's light. It's like that. It's like light humor sort of a thing, but in the darkish space. So yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So the film landed at one of the best diaspora festivals in the world. I
Yes.
mean, wow, New York Indian Film Festival. So what does that say to you about staying true to one's vision? I think this will go out to a whole lot of dreamers who also want to create films and follow your journey on Nubrata.
Right. It was so special. It was very, very special. Oh, also because I've tried to not make a festival film. So because I didn't really follow any of the rules and just tried to tell my story, and yet there is a festival out there who didn't look away just because it's not a festival film. That is a very special feeling for me. I didn't expect this recognition at all. I thought we'll have to go straight to our people here, release it. The fact that we've got one festival laurel out there, and a couple of nominations to go with it, I think that is very, very special, and it goes to show that if there are people out there who are looking for stories, they'll find it. How the studio system here might have failed to recognize a story like that, but the New York Indian Film Festival and Asim Chhabra, they had they had the vision to go out there, look for stories. They had that intention to look for stories, and because of that, they found this story. Right? It takes work. It takes work not just from the teller, but also from the one who discovers and puts it out in the world. So I really, really appreciate it. I'm very thankful for it. This is the one validation that we have right now, and it really, really means a lot.
No, congratulations. Congratulations. I mean, let's talk a little bit about the hustle. You paid rent and EMIs during your 2.5 years of film industry, by acting in ads, even alongside SRK. I was just watching that. And Salman Khan. Wow. So what did that survival hustle really teach you about building resilience as an artist? Because an artist, we have to all the time struggle. I'm a writer myself, and you're constantly there's I suffer with a lot of self-doubt,
Right.
constantly, because you're always reading something that's better, you're always watching something that's better, right? And the bar is every day just it just keeps rising up.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about your hustle. What did it teach you? Maybe just two or three words that you remember that comes to your mind immediately.
uh, about the hustle. So first, I think when you're talking about constantly watching work that you feel that one is not
Yeah.
good, I have to plug in this film called Stolen, though I have nothing to do with the film. It's just a film that I watched and I loved, and a film like that. The name of the director is Karan Tejpal, who's not a friend of mine. I'm just rooting for them because they've made a brilliant film, which is not in the studio system, not a typical festival film, a very engaging film that they've made and put it out there. It's on Amazon Prime right now, and it's fantastic. I'm looking forward to watching System Midnight as well. which again looks very very delicious. And I hope to go catch it as well very very soon. So films like these are a huge encouragement for the community, that okay, we can go and tell engaging stories as well. And while praising the other film, I completely forgot your question.
Hustle. I'm talking about the hustle. What did the hustle teach you? I mean,
Right, about the uh,
you're so
right,
courageous.
right.
So,
So I think, okay, we call ourselves independent filmmakers, right?
yeah.
If we are funded for our daily needs by parents or spouse or siblings, then we are not truly independent. We are independent only when we are making a film with that sort of an attitude, and also when we are figuring out ways to pay our bills, because making an independent film means 3 years going all out passionate about something, and that will not pay you, because the payment will happen probably when it sells or something, right, which has not yet happened for our film. So or when it goes to the theaters and we sell tickets, right? Till that happens, you're literally giving your heart and soul to something for 3 years without getting paid. So now you have to have another thing that you're doing, which is paying you, right? For most of us, we would take up writing jobs. Like, for instance, we'll take up a translation job, for instance, which might be, we don't really have to give our heart and soul into it. We might be able to get a bit of money out of it. We might, write lyrics or write dialogue for somebody else's film. Those are some of the ways in which a lot of us sustain, right? Those are the ways. But thankfully, I had this other skill, which was acting. And because I worked for a short duration at TVF, where the writers also act, so I got a little comfortable with the camera. And so I thought, okay, when the lockdown hit and we were running out of funds, I thought, okay, my wife thought, because she's an actor, and she thought, okay, I'll have to write. I thought, okay, I have to act. We have to really, maximize our, resources, and make ourselves as useful to the industry as possible so that they pay us. So that's where acting came from. So I started giving auditions, and initially there was that ego, that filmmakers or writer directors ego, ki, why should I give auditions? Why should I act? You writer directors tend to look at acting as something less than what they do. But I was like, no, there's no space for ego when you're trying to make something happen. Uh, Go out there, give those auditions. So I think I would have given around 650, 700 auditions by now over the last 4 years. I got to act in a lot of ads and see the beautiful side of it. Just because I was able to keep the ego aside, I got the chance to work with Shah Rukh Khan. How unbelievable is that, right?
Totally unbelievable. I mean, I was watching the ad and I think it's amazing.
Yeah, so it is such a dream come true that I didn't even. It's like a wish that I didn't even ask for, and it came true. And I feel so special about it. And the ad with Salman Khan also, he was also very sweet on set. I'm also getting to act in a couple of long form things. I was there in The Waking of a Nation by Ram Advani, and I'm in Nikhil Advani's next show, The Revolutionaries. So those are very exciting opportunities, and acting has really helped me pay my bills while I passionately go towards writing and making film. So yeah, that's I'm very very
Amazing,
thankful.
amazing. You are inspirational,
Thank you, thank you.
absolutely inspirational. Now, let's talk a little bit about the casting, right?
Sure,
I
sure, sure.
mean, you actually got Sadhana Singh and Rajat Kapoor.
Right,
And, so Rajat Kapoor returning, Rajit, right?
Rajat, yeah,
Yeah,
Rajat.
Rajat Kapoor. So Rajat Kapoor returning as a Bengali detective 28 years after Bomkesh Bakshi is a beautiful bit of poetic casting. So
Right.
I mean, what was that? Is it coincidence or you really intended to do that?
So I can't talk about casting without talking about my friend Deepak Agarwal, who's the casting director. So he is phenomenal, and he is very well connected in the industry. He was working with Casting Bay earlier, and he then decided to sort of become a casting director himself, and he started with our film, right? And his connections is what really helped us pitch the film, because there's no way in the world I would be able to reach a Rajat Kapoor or a Sadhna Singh or a Sukant Goel or a Chittaranjan Giri. I'm not well connected. I'm the kind of person who sits at home and writes. So and because we have Deepak, he was able to take the script and pitch it to these amazing actors, and hope that they like it and say yes, and which is what happened. So it's all Deepak in terms of the casting. In terms of the poetic thing that happened with Bomkesh Bakshi becoming, coming back as a Bengali detective after 28 years, that is something we had in mind. We were like, does it make sense? Are we probably, is it either it's really right or it's really wrong to do it? So the thought was that, okay, this detective is completely different from how Bomkesh Bakshi was. How that character was written was very different. This guy is way more arrogant and all of that. So maybe it could be interesting to have him also, because there are a lot of these references about the books that the mother reads, and she is a huge fan of Feluda and Bomkesh and Miss Marple, all of Agatha Christie and everything, right? And so having Bomkesh Bakshi in that film is something beautiful, right? So we're like, okay, let's approach. He'll definitely not say yes to us because we don't have budget, we're small, we haven't done anything in the past to show for what we aspire to do. But Deepak is like, bro, don't worry about it, let me just pitch. And he went ahead, he shared the script with him one evening. The next morning, Rajit Kapoor comes to Inorbit Mall, uh, to a pretty nice restaurant. He calls me there, and he's got this script printed and marked, all color marked and all of that. And he has come there with 5 ideas about how he wants to play this character. I'm like, boy, this is professionalism. This is incredible. I mean, it's not by chance that he worked with like the likes of Basu Chatterjee and Sham Benegal. He is insane, and the ideas that he came up with, those are like yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, and yes sir. I was like blown. I was like, how does this guy know so much about this character by reading it? I think once or twice he might have read the script. Given the time, it was there was a night in between, and it was like literally within 4 to 5 hours he was that well prepped. It's incredible how good some professional actors can be, and it was just, I mean, just learning. And directing him was obviously very easy. When you get the casting right, a direction is so easy. You just have to tell them and they just get it. They get it off the script, and then a couple of things here and there you just got to tell them, and it goes.
Amazing. I'm just, I got the goosebumps when I listened to that. Like you get a call and you go into an orbit mall and then here is,
Right.
your dream come true. Amazing. Let's talk a little bit about the difficult part of
Yes.
funding, right? So
Yes.
let's talk about money. Most people don't realize that even a low budget film requires at least lakhs, right? That's the minimum. So how did you, I mean, obviously you told me that you crowdsourced through social media. What made that thing work for you when it came to funding? If there's one advice that you'd like to give people.
Okay. Okay. So I think crowdfunding is 95% the people who fund you. It's their upbringing. It's the way they look at the world. A lot of people have a lot of money, but they don't think about helping anyone else with it, unless there's an obvious profit which is coming your way very soon. So it takes a certain kind of mentality for one to fund a film which may or may not make money. So that's all them. But the little that one has to do as a filmmaker is not be entitled. Do not make anybody feel bad about not being able to fund your film or deciding not to fund your film despite having money. It is their call. We
Yeah,
can only hope for it. We cannot expect it. The
true.
moment we expect it, it's not a good relationship. And we cannot get into their inboxes with it. We cannot text them, call them, and ask directly. It has to be a want that is put out there. And if one sees that want and wants to connect, they would. Uh, it has to be very comfortable for both the parties, and that is one thing that I would definitely say, that oh, you know, don't be entitled. And another thing that might have worked for us is that I had a good reputation back in college, because I was doing a bunch of things like quizzes and debates, and um, I had put together a band and everything. So people have seen me sort of uh, create things out of thin air as well. And though those were small ventures, those were college ventures and everything, but they probably saw that okay, this guy uh, is very honest about his art, and he if he is taking our money, it is in safe hands. So that bit, that's again upbringing that I'll have to give it to my parents for that. Uh, but this is only the 5% of it. It's all them. It is just their generosity, which is incredible. I cannot match that generosity, and I can never really thank them enough. But it's really all them.
You've worked across genres, formats, let's say novels, lyrics, web shows, shorts, and now, of course, a feature film. So, where did you feel the most heard as a writer? In which of these genres?
The most heard, or you said hurt?
Heard, seen, both.
Hurt scene. Okay. I'm not yet very seen. I think I'm not well known, so I don't feel seen yet at all, because only the novel is one thing that released and people read it and gave me feedback. This film is yet to release, so we don't know how it's going to be taken. We hope people are going to lap it up and love it, uh, but no, I don't think I've been seen yet. So uh, I no comments on that.
Okay. Uh, then tell us a little bit about your working on Ricky Martin's Ventipaka, and that's quite a pivot, from dark Indian cinema, So tell us a little bit about that.
So that was long back. That was in 2016 actually when that happened. So I was writing lyrics and managing bands. So I did it for a college band, and I did it for a semi-professional band in Bangalore, and I was writing lyrics for them and composing some music with them and all that. So I was in that scheme of things back then, and I was also writing for a couple of independent musicians in Bombay who were trying to make songs and pitch them to different companies. So one of them, called Rahul Jain, was in touch with Sony Music, and a lot of the songs that he had pitched had my lyrics in them. So Sony Music had this thing of had this intention of working with Rahul Jain, and because they also read my lyrics along the way, they thought they would like to collaborate with me on something. So they asked me to write some lyrics. Initially, it was for I think Anirudh Ravichandar, which didn't work out. Then there was another musician. I'm forgetting his name. A pretty famous guy. Didn't work out. And then, luckily, the one that worked out was the god of them all, like Ricky Martin. So that was pretty
Amazing.
amazing. Very fortunate that that happened. So that was a collaboration. So this was an English plus Hindi song. The Hindi part was sung by Akasa Singh, and Ricky Martin sang the English part, and I wrote the Hindi lyrics for it. So for the Indian version of the song by Sony Music and Ricky Martin, I got to attach my name to it, and it was my first professional lyric writing job. So that
Amazing.
was very amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. So, before we end, I need to ask you, what do you think is truly needed as support, for first time filmmakers?
I think, see, the way in which we made the film is, in a way, a jugaad way of making the film, right? It should not come down to this, I feel. It should be supported by the system. So, what one major difference that I've seen from being an actor and being a director is that in my acting journey, it has been the casting directors and the assistants working tirelessly to find the best actors that they can.
Okay.
They really work hard. Uh, Usually, the people who get into becoming casting assistants and associates, they don't come from the most premium colleges, but they're very, very hardworking, and they mean it when they really sort of want to find that actor that the director wants. They work very hard. Compare that with creative producers in the studios. They do come from the best colleges, but they're not as hardworking. They're not as honest in terms of finding stories. Had they been, they would have found so many more stories. One wouldn't have to make Stolen and then go to an Amazon. They will find a Netflix or an Amazon will find them before, or a studio, a big studio, would find them before, and fund that film and make it happen. It's a huge gap there. I think the solution to it could be creative production or finding of scripts can become a business. Right now, it is being done by people who are employees. They're doing it as a job. They're probably not as motivated to do it as some of the casting assistants and associates who have to crack it if they want to meet their monthly goals of the amount that they want to earn. It's like a business. It is not like that for creative producers and people working in development at studios. That needs to change. When it becomes a business to find the best scripts, they will find the best scripts, and it has to change. And I think it will. And I think it should become a separate business, like the great casting companies like Mukesh Chabra and Casting Bay and Anti Casting and Kashish Arora, everyone, on my K role, they're doing a fantastic job. Tess Joseph. Similarly, we need companies who will look for scripts, who will find these scripts. Tulsi is already doing a good job with that. We need more to find good writers, not just as representation, um, but finding them and giving it to the producers so that they can cash in on that. They will only think money and they have to work out of that only, but uh, the work has to be different. It has to be driven by the need for business. So yeah, that's what I was trying to get at.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for staying tuned in to this episode. And in an era where cinema is increasingly defined by algorithms and algorithms by market trends, Ananyabrata Chakravorty reminds us of something quietly radical, that a good story told truthfully still has the power to find its people. And perhaps, like all good stories, it leaves us not with answers, but with better questions. Thank you so much for being on today's episode. And we really look forward to the show being released in India for all of us to watch and enjoy. For me, for sure, personally, I would love to watch this. I'm a mother to a son too, and I'm
Oh,
sure there would be many, many parts of the film that I would relate to. And thank you once again, and we wish you all the best.
thank you so much, Mohua. It was great to be here. It means a lot. Thank you so much.